Most people will live their entire lives calling themselves lazy. They will read books on motivation. They will buy planners. They will download apps with little circles that turn green when they remember to drink water. And nothing will change. The morning will look the same. The phone will be reached for at the same moment. The same plate will be eaten in front of the same screen. The truth is, they were never lazy. They were trapped in comfort, and nobody ever taught them how to leave it. The samurai had a word for the discipline of leaving it. They called it Kaizen. Before I tell you the story of a man who used to draw chalk circles on the floor of a Toyota factory, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Then leave a comment with the one habit you most want to stop. Not start. Stop. Write it now. Read it back to yourself. That single sentence is the first practice. The rest of this video will tell you what to do with it. If you can name the thing honestly, you have already done more than most people manage in a year. Kaizen is written with two characters. Kai means to correct. The old form of the character shows a person whose back has been struck, made to face their fault. Zen means good. The compound entered Japan more than 1,000 years ago through Buddhist scripture. The original sense was not motivational, it was moral. To stand in front of what is wrong, look at it without flinching, and change it to the good. That is Kaizen. It is older than Toyota. It is older than business. It is the discipline of refusing to let yesterday's mistakes survive into today. In 1950, a Japanese engineer named Taiichi Ohno was working on the floor of a Toyota factory. The company was bankrupt. The cars were defective. The workers were exhausted. And Ohno had been given the task of making it work with no new machines and no new money. He invented something. A method so quiet that for years almost no one noticed it. He called it Kaizen. His most famous teaching tool was a piece of chalk. He would walk onto the factory floor, draw a circle on the concrete, and order a young engineer to stand inside it. No clipboard, no watch, no instructions. Just stand. After 1 hour, Ohno would walk past and ask what the engineer had seen. Usually nothing. After 3 hours, the engineer would begin to name small things. A worker reaching too far. A part placed 2 steps from where it was needed. A tool changed without thinking. After 6 hours, the engineer would begin to understand. A worker was not training him to fix problems. He was training him to see them. Because you cannot change what you have not yet noticed. Ohno taught one more thing alongside the circle. Whenever a problem appeared, he would ask why 5 times. Not once, not twice, 5. The first answer is usually the symptom. The second answer is the excuse. The third answer is the embarrassment. The fourth answer is closer to the truth. The fifth answer is almost always the real cause, and almost always something the worker did not want to look at. This is the second half of Kaizen. The circle teaches you to see. The 5 questions teach you to keep going past the easy answer. Most people stop at why 1. They blame the obvious. They blame other people. They blame the weather. Real change starts at the 5th why, where the answer points back at the person asking it. Within 2 decades, the same factory that had been bankrupt became the most copied production system in the world. Toyota did not get there by spending more money than Ford or General Motors. They got there by removing what was wasteful inside their own walls. One small wasted motion, found, looked at, removed, then another, for 20 years. The world called it a miracle. Ohno called it Kaizen. This is the first thing modern self-help gets wrong about Kaizen. People hear the word and they think 1% better every day. Compound interest. A tiny improvement repeated. That is not what Ohno taught. Adding 1% more to a broken system makes the system 1% more broken. Kaizen is not addition. Kaizen is subtraction. It is the patient work of finding what is already stealing your time, your attention, your energy, and removing it. Ohno had a word for the thing being removed. He called it muda. Waste. Wasted motion. Wasted reach. Wasted decision. Most lives are full of muda. Most days are spent doing things that quietly cost you something and give nothing back. You do not need a new habit. You need to see the old one clearly enough to put it down. The same word, Kaizen, lives quietly in Japan today, and almost nobody mentions it. A school teacher writes Kaizen at the top of a student's paper, and the student knows it means, revise this honestly. In a Japanese hospital, the nurses keep a Kaizen board on the wall of the staff room. Anyone can write on it. Most of the notes are small. The supply cart blocks the doorway on Tuesdays. The night shift cannot find the keys to the third cabinet. The waiting room chairs squeak when patients sit down. None of these notes are dramatic. None of them are heroic. But every week, one note is read out, looked at, and resolved. The board is never empty for long. Toyota uses the same kind of board in its factories. The hospital uses it for patient safety. The school uses it for student work. Same word, same practice. Quiet correction repeated until it becomes the air people breathe. Centuries before Ohno, this same teaching lived in the dojos. A young apprentice named Hayato had been training under his master for 3 years. He was talented, his sword was clean, his footwork was correct. But he was unhappy. Each night, in the quiet of his small room, he felt the same restlessness. He would read scrolls until his eyes burned. He would invent new drills. He would wake earlier than the other students and stay later than any of them, and still, the unease followed him into sleep. One morning he went to his master and asked for a harder discipline, a new practice, a heavier sword, a longer fast. The master listened. He said nothing for a long time. Then he led Hayato outside, picked up a piece of black charcoal, and drew a small circle on the wooden floor of the courtyard. "Stand inside this," the master said, "until the sun is at its highest. Then come back to me." Hayato stood. The first hour was easy. The second hour was boring. The third hour was the hardest hour of his short life. By the fourth, he stopped fighting the boredom and began to notice things. The way his right shoulder pulled higher than his left. The way his breath stopped at the top of each inhale. The way his eyes kept searching for someone to admire him. He saw that he had been training every morning for 3 years to be seen. Not to be still. He returned to his master in tears. The master smiled. "You wanted a heavier sword," he said. "But your sword is not the problem. Your wanting is the problem. Stop training for 2 weeks. Sit in the circle every morning. Watch what your mind reaches for when there is nothing to chase. When you can see what is wrong, you will know what to change. That is Kaizen. It is not adding, it is removing." Hayato did as he was told. The first morning was the hardest. His hands itched for a sword that was not there. His mind built scenes of duels he would win, students who would admire him, masters who would praise him. By the third morning, the noise quieted. By the 7th morning, he began to hear something he had never heard in 3 years of training: his own breath. By the 10th morning, he understood that the restlessness he had been trying to outrun with harder discipline was not coming from outside him. It was coming from the wanting itself. At the end of 2 weeks, he picked up his sword again and trained for 1 hour, just one, slowly, without an audience. And his master said, this hour was worth more than the last 3 years. This ancient teaching applies just as much to a modern life spent staring at screens. You do not need a colder shower. You do not need a longer workout. You do not need a new app that gamifies your morning. You need to sit in your own chalk circle and watch your own day. Watch which moment you first reach for the phone. Watch what you are running from when you open the fridge. Watch which meeting you said yes to because you were afraid to say no. The honest answers will surprise you. Most of what you call laziness is not laziness. It is a body trying to escape a habit that is costing it more than it can name. Kaizen begins the second you let yourself see this clearly. Try Ohno's 5 questions on one of your own habits. Why do I reach for my phone the moment I wake up? Because I am checking messages. Why am I checking messages before I am even out of bed? Because I am afraid I missed something important. Why am I afraid of missing something? Because I have built a life where other people's small needs feel more urgent than my own large ones. Why have I let it become that way? Because saying no in the moment feels harder than scrolling for 10 minutes in advance. Why is saying no so hard? And here, on the 5th why, the real answer arrives. It is rarely the answer you expected. It is almost never about the phone. The phone is the symptom, the wanting to be needed, or the fear of being forgotten, or the avoidance of the harder work waiting on the desk is the cause. Kaizen does not let you stop at the symptom. 5 questions deep, the actual habit comes into view, and once it is in view, it can be changed. Now here is how the practice actually works in a modern week. Pick one wasted motion. Just one. Not 3, not a list. 1. Maybe it is the phone in your hand the moment your eyes open. Maybe it is the second coffee that erases your afternoon. Maybe it is the half hour you spend deciding what to watch instead of watching. Whichever it is, look at it for 7 days. Do not change it yet, just watch it. Notice when it begins. Notice what it gives you. Notice what it takes. After 7 days, remove it. Not improve it. Remove it. Do not replace it with a new habit. Leave the space empty. Let the discomfort of the empty space teach you what it has been hiding. The first week will be uncomfortable. The second week will be quieter. By the 3rd week, you will notice another piece of muda that you could not see before because the first one was blocking your view. This is how Kaizen compounds. Not by stacking improvements. By peeling away interferences until only the thing that matters remains. Toyota did not become the largest car company in the world by adding effort. It became the largest by removing waste. Hayato did not become a master by training harder. He became a master by learning to see what his training was actually doing. Your life will not change by adding. Your life will change by seeing clearly enough to subtract. This is also why most 30-day challenges fail. They are built on the addition fallacy. Add a new workout. Add a cold shower. Add journaling. Add a green smoothie. The list grows, and the energy required to maintain the list grows with it, until on day 12, the whole structure collapses under its own weight. The person calls themselves lazy. The person was not lazy. The person was carrying too much that should never have been picked up in the first place. Kaizen builds in the opposite direction. One thing removed. Held until removed becomes normal. Then one more thing removed. Not added. Removed. After 1 year of this, the life that remains is lighter, quieter, and recognizable as your own. After 3 years, the people around you will ask what you did. The honest answer is that you did almost nothing. You only stopped doing certain things. There is one more thing. Kaizen requires honesty about scale. The small change is not a small change. The chalk circle was not small. 6 hours of standing still feels enormous. The single habit you removed this week will feel like a loss before it feels like a gain. This is correct. The discipline is to make the change so small that it cannot fail, and to refuse to add anything else until that one change is permanent. Most people fail at habits because they try to change 10 things at once. Kaizen says change one. Make it the smallest possible version of one. Hold it until it is who you are. Then look again. Then change the next. A year from now, you will be a different person whether you do this work or not. The only question is whether the difference will be the result of your own seeing or the result of one more year of comfort tightening its grip. Comfort does not stay still. Comfort accumulates. Every month you do not look honestly at one habit, 3 new pieces of muda quietly attach themselves to your life. The phone gets heavier. The morning gets later, the evening gets shorter, the voice in your head gets quieter. Kaizen is how you reverse this drift. Not by force, not by punishment, by looking, by asking why 5 times, by removing one thing, by letting the space remain empty long enough to teach you what was hiding there. If this video helped you see one habit you have been pretending not to see, do not let the seeing go to waste. Tell me in the comments the one thing you will stop doing this week. Not the thing you will start, the thing you will stop. Reading the words written down is the second practice. Holding to them for 7 days is the third. Remember this. You are not lazy. You were never lazy. You were comfortable, and comfort is the most patient enemy a person can have. Kaizen is the quiet refusal to let comfort win another day. Sit still. Cut clean. Walk on. See you in the next video.